My phone buzzes against the coffee table. My mother's name lighting up the screen. 2 weeks before my wedding, Evelyn Mercer hasn't missed a day calling with some new emergency that needs my immediate attention. I let it ring 3 times, steeling myself before answering. "Hi, Mom." Serafina. Her voice comes through with that artificial brightness that always precedes a demand. "You need to come over right away. Your sister needs to talk to you about something important for the wedding." My stomach tightens. Can't she just call me? I have final dress alterations in 2 hours. This isn't something that can be discussed over the phone. Mom insists, her tone sharpening. "Marin has been working on a surprise for you. You'll want to see it in person." I close my eyes, imagining the half-dozen surprises from my sister that have ended with me smiling through gritted teeth, but it's easier to give in than fight. Fine, I'll be there in 30 minutes. The drive to my parents' home takes me through familiar Portland suburbs, rain streaking the windshield. I rehearse polite responses to whatever Marin has planned. Troy's voice echoes in my head. "You don't have to say yes to everything, Sierra." I pull into the driveway, noting my father's car is home too unusual for a Tuesday morning. The knot in my stomach tightens. Mom opens the door before I knock, practically vibrating with excitement. Perfect timing. "Come in, come in." The house smells like chocolate cake. Marin's favorite, not mine. Some things never change. "Where's Marin?" I ask, following Mom through the hallway toward the living room. "Just wait," Mom says, her voice hushed with anticipation. "Close your eyes." I don't. Instead, I step into the living room and freeze. Marin stands on a small footstool in front of the mirror, wearing a floor-length white gown with delicate beading and a sweetheart neckline. Not a bridesmaid dress, a wedding dress. My mother beams with pride. "Doesn't your sister look beautiful? This is perfect for leading you down the aisle." The room tilts slightly. "Leading me down the aisle?" Marin turns, her lips curving in that familiar smile, the one that says she's won something I didn't know we were competing for. Surprise. I don't understand. My voice sounds distant, even to me. Mom rushes to explain, hands clasping together. "Well, since your father is walking you down, we thought having Marin lead the procession in something special would be so meaningful. She's your big sister, after all." "In a wedding dress?" The words come out sharper than I intended. Marin's face falls in practiced disappointment. "It's not technically a wedding dress. It's just bridal adjacent." My father stands in the corner, studying his shoes as if they hold the secrets of the universe. "I think it's inappropriate." I say, the words scraping my throat. "It looks exactly like a wedding dress." Mom's expression hardens. Marin deserves a special moment. She's been through so much emotionally. The familiar script unfolds. Marin deserves it. Marin needs. Marin. A memory surfaces. My 10th birthday. Mom served chocolate cake despite my request for strawberries. "Just let your sister have this. She's so picky. You'll eat anything," she had said, cutting Marin the first and largest slice. Another memory, bringing home straight A's, receiving a $20 bill slipped into my hand, with minimal acknowledgement. The same week, Marin's report card full of C's and D's earned her a $150 shopping spree for trying so hard despite her challenges. I look at my sister now, 20 years later, still being rewarded for simply existing while I bend and fold myself smaller. "It's not like anyone will be looking at you anyway with Troy there," Marin says, smoothing the white fabric over her hips. "He's so handsome. Everyone will be watching him." The casual cruelty lands like a slap. "I don't want you wearing white to my wedding." My voice sounds foreign, steady, clear. Mom's face flushes. "You've always been so selfish. Your sister just wants to share your special day." I look at my father, silently pleading for intervention. After a moment, he clears his throat. "Sarah, it's not worth fighting about," he says wearily. "Just let it go." The familiar sensation washes over me, the feeling of being erased, of making myself smaller to accommodate everyone else's needs. I've spent 28 years perfecting the art of disappearing. My phone rings in my pocket. "Troy. I need to take this," I say, walking outside onto the porch, hands trembling as I answer. Behind me, I hear Marin and my mother laughing. "Hey, how's it going with the alterations?" Troy asks. Something in my breathing must give me away. "What's wrong?" His voice sharpens with concern. "The dam breaks. They want Marin to basically wear a wedding dress and lead me down the aisle. Silence for 2 heartbeats, then, "I'm coming to get you. This ends now." No questions. No suggestions to compromise. No reminder that family is complicated. Just immediate, unwavering support. I realize this is the first time someone has stood up for me without hesitation. "I'll be fine," I say, my voice steadier. "I'll meet you at home." I hang up and return inside, a strange calm settling over me. 3 faces turn toward me, expressions ranging from triumph to wariness. "I need to think about this," I say quietly. My mother blinks, surprised by my lack of immediate surrender. "Well, we need to decide soon. The dress needs alterations." I nod, picking up my purse. "I'll call you tomorrow." As I leave, I hear my mother's voice. "Don't worry, she'll give in. She always does." I slide into my car, tears streaming down my face as I pull away from the house. But beneath the pain, something new takes root. This time, I won't give in. This time, everything changes. I push open the door to my apartment, half expecting to find it empty. Instead, Troy stands in the middle of the living room, pacing like a caged animal. The sight of him solid, present, already here for me breaks something loose inside my chest. "Tell me everything, everything," he says, crossing the room and taking my hands in his. "From the beginning." His touch anchors me as words tumble out not just today's betrayal, but older wounds long buried. When I was 12, my grandmother gave me her sapphire necklace. It disappeared from my jewelry box a week later. Troy's fingers tighten around mine as I continue. "Mom accused me of being careless, and said I probably lost it at school. The memory still stings." 2 months later, I found it in Marin's pocket when I was doing laundry. When I told Mom, she said I was just trying to get Marin in trouble. Troy guides me to the couch, his expression darkening. Then there was Mark, my first boyfriend when I was 16. I haven't thought about this in years. Marin told my parents she saw him with his arm around another girl at the mall. They grounded me for a month, and wouldn't let me see him. By the time I could, he'd moved on. "And the other girl?" Troy asks softly. "His cousin, visiting from Seattle." I laugh without humor. I found out later from his friend. No one believed me when I tried to explain. Troy listens, really listens, in a way no one in my family ever has. His face grows more serious with each story, until he leans forward, his eyes locking with mine. "Serafina, what they've been doing to you is psychological abuse." The words hang between us like a physical presence. I pull my hands away, shaking my head. They're just a normal family with favorites. The defense sounds hollow even to my ears. Normal families don't systematically sacrifice one child for another. Troy's voice remains gentle, but his words cut through decades of carefully constructed excuses. What they're doing with this wedding is just the latest in a pattern that's been happening your entire life. The truth of it crashes over me like a wave, and suddenly I can't breathe. Tears spill down my cheeks, as everything I've been holding back for years breaks free. "I want to cancel the wedding," I sob. "Or elope. Anything but this." Troy takes my face in his hands, his thumbs brushing away tears. "No, if we run, they win. They've taken 28 years from you. They will not take this day." A knock at the door interrupts us. June stands in the hallway, holding bags of takeout and a bottle of wine. "I come bearing reinforcements," she announces, her smile fading when she sees my tear-stained face. "Oh, honey, what happened?" Over pad thai and red wine, I tell June everything. About the white dress. About Troy's declaration that what my family does is abuse. About the lifetime of moments where I've been taught that my needs come last, if they matter at all. "We need a strategy," Troy says, reaching for his phone. "Not revenge, but boundaries and consequences." He calls his brother Caleb, putting him on speaker. "We need your professional assessment of a situation." Caleb's security expertise brings clarity to the chaos in my head. After hearing the details, his voice comes through serious and certain. "This is manipulative but predictable behavior. People who've gotten away with this kind of thing for decades don't stop just because you ask nicely." June scrolls through her phone, brow furrowed. "I'm looking at texts from Marin over the years. There's a pattern here." She reads aloud. "I don't know why you'd want that haircut with your face shape. Don't worry about looking cheap at the rehearsal dinner. No one will notice you anyway. Each example lands like a stone in my stomach. How had I normalized this for so long? I open my laptop, checking email. I should look at the wedding correspondence. What I find feels like a punch to the gut. My mother emailed the wedding planner last week requesting special seating for Marin at the front with the bride. I keep scrolling, the betrayal deepening. She also contacted the photographer about special sister photos during the ceremony. Troy's brother arrives with security contracts while we're still processing these discoveries. He lays them on the coffee table with a grim expression. What if no one believes me? The fear rises, thick in my throat. What if everyone takes their side? June reaches for my hand. I've watched them do this to you for years, Sarah. Remember your 25th birthday? Your mom spent the whole dinner talking about Marin's promotion, then criticized your outfit when you finally spoke up. Troy remains steady beside me. People will see the truth when it happens. I reach for my phone, hesitating before dialing. Uncle Mateo answers on the third ring. Serafina? Everything okay, sweetheart? I tell him everything, my voice growing stronger with each word. His response brings the first real comfort I've felt all day. I've watched this happen your whole life, Sarah. It's time it stopped. His voice grows fierce with protection. And if Jacob won't walk you down the aisle, I will. It would be my honor. We spend the next hour making strategic decisions, not in anger but with clear-eyed purpose. Hire professional security with explicit instructions about white dresses. Communicate with the venue about potential disruptions. Create and enforce a strict guest list and dress code. Assign June and Caleb to run interference with guests. We're not getting revenge, Troy emphasizes, his hand warm on my back. We are setting a boundary and enforcing it. Later, when everyone has gone, I make my first quiet stand, changing my phone settings to send family calls directly to voicemail. The small act feels monumental, like stepping onto foreign soil. Troy watches me from the doorway of our bedroom. You okay? I think I will be, I say, surprised to find I mean it. That night, I slept peacefully for the first time since our engagement, Troy's protective presence beside me, dreaming not of white dresses or family betrayal, but of a future where I finally, fully belong. 2 days pass in a strange fog of notifications. My phone won't stop vibrating, each alert sending a small earthquake through my nightstand. I scroll through the notifications without opening them. 14 missed calls from Mom, 8 from Marin, and a single text from my father. Your mother is very upset. Call her. I set the phone down and stare at the ceiling. Troy's arm rests protectively across my waist, his breathing still steady with sleep. The digital clock reads 6:24 a.m. My phone buzzes again. A voicemail notification. I slip out of bed, careful not to wake Troy, and take the phone to the bathroom. Mom's voice fills the small space, syrupy sweet at first. Serafina, honey, I know you're upset, but you're overreacting. It's just a dress. Call me back. I played the next one, recorded 3 hours later. This silent treatment is childish. We're trying to make your wedding special. And the next, from yesterday evening, the sweetness evaporated completely. You're ruining your relationship with your sister over nothing. After everything we've done for you. I delete the rest without listening and open Marin's latest text. I just wanted to be part of your special day. Why are you being so cruel? The familiar guilt rises like bile, but something else rises with it now, anger, sharp and clarifying. A knock at the bathroom door makes me jump. Are you okay in there? Troy asks. I open the door. My family's been busy. He takes the phone from my hand, scans the messages, his jaw tightening. Your cousin Diane called last night while you were in the shower. I forgot to tell you. What did she want? To warn you. Apparently your mother is telling everyone you're having some kind of nervous breakdown. The room seems to tilt slightly. I grip the edge of the sink. Of course she is. Troy sets the phone down. We're meeting the venue coordinator at 10. Want breakfast first? I nod, grateful for his calm practicality, for how he doesn't ask if I want to call them back or suggest I'm overreacting. For the first time in my life, someone believes my experience without question. Later that day, the venue is even more beautiful in daylight. A converted garden estate with climbing roses and a view of Mount Hood in the distance. The coordinator, a woman in her 50s named Brenda, greets us with a firm handshake. So tell me what I can help with today, she says, leading us to her office. Troy takes my hand. We anticipate some uninvited individuals may try to cause a disruption at our wedding. I brace for skepticism, for the familiar tilt of her head that would indicate she thinks we're overreacting. Instead, Brenda nods knowingly. You'd be surprised how often family drama happens at weddings. Tell me exactly what you're concerned about. The words catch in my throat. How do I explain 28 years of being the family scapegoat? How my sister and mother turned my wedding into another opportunity to erase me? Troy squeezes my hand. Specifically, we're concerned that the bride's sister may attempt to attend in what amounts to a wedding dress. Brenda's eyebrows rise slightly. Well, that's a new one, but easily addressed. She pulls out a contract, points to a section, and adds a handwritten clause. Any guest, besides the bride, attempting to enter in a wedding dress or similarly disruptive attire will be denied entry. She has me initial it, her matter-of-fact attitude making the situation feel manageable rather than catastrophic. Will your mother support this decision? She asks. I laugh, the sound brittle even to my own ears. She's the one who suggested my sister wear white in the first place. Brenda doesn't look surprised. She just adds another note to the file. We'll have additional security posted at all entrances. We sign the final contracts, and as we leave, I feel both lighter and heavier protected, but saddened by the necessity of it all. Back home, a package waits by the door. My wedding dress. June arrives minutes after we do, her timing suspicious enough that I know Troy called her. Want to try it on? She asks, her excitement genuine. In the bedroom, I step into the ivory gown, the weight of it settling around me like armor. June zips it up, then steps back, hands covering her mouth. Oh, Sarah. Is it okay? I smooth the fabric, suddenly unsure. Tears well in June's eyes. You deserve this moment, Sarah. All of it. A sharp knock at the front door interrupts us. June helps me out of the dress, hanging it carefully in the closet. In the living room, Troy stands frozen, his expression warning me before I see them. My mother and Marin, uninvited and unannounced in my apartment. We're worried about you, honey, Mom says, her concern as authentic as cubic zirconia. You're not answering our calls. Marin stands slightly behind her, eyes red and puffy. I just wanted to be there for my little sister. I feel something shift inside me, like tectonic plates rearranging after decades of pressure. I stand straighter. I've made my decision. Marin will not be wearing white to my wedding. My mother's face changes, concern melting into something harder, more honest. After everything we've done for you? This is how you repay us? The front door opens again, and Troy steps in, stopping when he sees the scene. He moves silently behind me, not touching me but close enough that I feel his presence. My mother turns to him, softening her expression. You know how emotional brides get. Surely you understand. I understand perfectly what's happening here, Troy says, his voice carrying the chill of absolute certainty. Marin steps forward, tears falling on cue. If I can't wear what I want, I'm not coming. The threat hangs in the air, meant to crumble my resolve. All my life, their approval has been oxygen, necessary, constant, and withheld just enough to keep me gasping. That's your choice, I say quietly. My mother's mouth opens slightly, shocked by my failure to surrender. She recovers quickly, gathering her purse with sharp, angry movements. You'll regret this, she says, the words landing like a curse. When you've calmed down, call us. They leave without another word, the door clicking shut behind them with surprising softness. Troy pulls me into his arms as the tears come, releasing years of accumulated grief. Later that evening, my phone rings my father's number. I answer, hopeful despite myself. Serafina, he says, his voice hesitant. It's his first solo contact in years. Your mother and sister are devastated. Can't you compromise? I close my eyes against fresh tears. Dad, I've compromised my entire life, not my wedding day. A long pause, his uncomfortable silence more telling than words. Finally, he sighs. I'll try to talk to them. I hang up, not believing him but appreciating the gesture. Troy pulls me close as I cry again, mourning the father I thought I had. The hardest part about setting boundaries, he whispers, is watching people prove why you needed them. Days pass in a blur of wedding preparations. Troy adds Caleb and June to all planning meetings, now witnesses to every decision, every contract signed. Then, 3 days before the wedding, a text from my father appears. Your mother and sister are very hurt. I don't know if I can walk you down the aisle with all this tension. I read it twice, the abandonment complete now. My hands shake as I call Uncle Mateo. Serafina, he answers warmly. How are you holding up? Dad might not walk me down the aisle, I say, the words rushing out before I lose courage. Would you do it? It would be my honor, Serafina, he says without hesitation. I've watched you grow into an amazing woman. The night before the wedding, I lie awake beside Troy, trembling with the realization that tomorrow could be the end of my relationship with my family. The thought brings both grief and strange relief. June sleeps on our couch, her quiet snores a comforting reminder that family isn't always blood. I slip out of bed and find my journal in the dark, writing by the glow of my phone. I will choose myself no matter what happens. The words look foreign on the page, hopeful, certain, and finally my own. On the wedding day, the morning light spills through the bridal suite windows as June fastens the last pearl button on my wedding dress. The other bridesmaids flutter around me, adjusting my veil, touching up makeup, snapping photos I'm barely present for. My phone buzzes with another text from Troy. Security confirms all systems go. Everyone has clear instructions. You just focus on being the bride. I exhale slowly, smoothing imaginary wrinkles from the satin bodice. A text from Caleb follows. Guards at every entrance. Nobody gets past us without proper attire. Uncle Mateo's message arrives next. Ready when you are, sweetheart. You look beautiful. June catches me staring at the phone. Everything okay? Fine, I lied, setting it face down on the vanity. Just wedding day jitters. We rode to the venue in comfortable silence. June holds my hand, giving it occasional squeezes when my breathing catches. The garden comes into view, lush greenery surrounding 120 white chairs, arranged in neat rows, an arch of blush roses marking the spot where Troy and I will become husband and wife. My chest tightens at the beauty of it all. As we slip in through the back entrance, I spot Uncle Mateo waiting in the hallway. His charcoal suit perfectly pressed, a white rose pinned to his lapel. When he sees me, his eyes fill with tears. You are a vision, he whispers, keeping a respectful distance to avoid disturbing my dress. I scan the area behind him. Any sign of my parents? Or Marin? Mateo's expression softens. Not yet, sweetheart. A security guard approaches, clipboard in hand. Miss Mercer, all guests are being checked at the entrance. Everything's proceeding normally. I nod my thanks as June ushers me into the small anteroom, where I'll wait until the ceremony begins. She fusses with my veil one last time, adjusting the delicate lace around my shoulders. Perfect, she declares, stepping back to admire her work. The bridesmaids file out to take their positions, leaving me alone with my thoughts. I stand before the full-length mirror, barely recognizing the woman staring back. Calm exterior, inner turmoil. 28 years of making myself small, of second-guessing my worth, culminating in this moment. The irony doesn't escape me. I'm not nervous about marrying Troy. I'm grieving the family that should be supporting me but chose to weaponize what should be my happiest day. My phone rings, shattering the silence. Dad. My hand trembles as I answer. Dad? Serafina. His voice was tight with urgency. You need to come to the main entrance right now and handle this. My stomach drops. Handle what? Marin is wearing a white dress, and these men won't let her in. The accusation in his tone makes my knees weak. You're making the family look bad in front of everyone. Hot tears well up, blurring my reflection in the mirror. Dad, did you know she was planning this? His silence stretches between us, damning in its length. Then, defensive. It's just a dress, Serafina. Something breaks inside me, the final thread of hope that my father might, just once, choose me. Goodbye, Dad. I end the call, my hands shaking so violently I almost drop the phone. June rushes in. Everything okay? You're as pale as your dress. I look at her, this friend who has witnessed years of my family's manipulation, who stood by me when Troy helped me see the truth. I'm ready to walk in. Alone. Her eyes widened. Are you sure? Completely. I turn toward the closed doors. Signal the musicians to start. The first notes of Canon in D filter through as June slips out. I stand tall, shoulders back, chin lifted. For the first time in my life, I feel the rightness of choosing myself. The doors swing open. 120 faces turn toward me. I take my first step into the aisle, eyes fixed on Troy waiting at the altar, his smile radiating such love it nearly buckles my knees. Suddenly, a scream cuts through the music Marin's voice, unmistakable in its fury. The music falters. Every head swivels toward the commotion at the main entrance, visible through the open doorway behind me. I freeze mid-step, bringing one hand to my mouth in what appears to be shock. Through the doorway, guests have a perfect view of Marin, in a pristine white wedding gown that rivals my own, flanked by two suited security guards physically blocking her entrance. My mother stands beside her, face contorted in rage, while my father hovers helplessly behind them. Whispers ripple through the crowd. Is that her sister? In a wedding dress? One of the security guards speaks with practiced calm. This person is violating the dress code and is not permitted entry. My mother's voice carries through the garden. We already told the bride. The words hang in the air, an inadvertent confession. Troy and Caleb stride past me toward the commotion. June rushes to my side, slipping an arm around my waist. Those people are trespassers, Troy confirms to security. Please escort them out. Uncle Mateo steps into the aisle then, walking slowly toward me. Without a word, he offers his arm, his eyes kind but determined. Let me walk you to your future, he says softly, like the daughter I always wanted. Around us, guests' expressions transform from confusion to understanding to disgust as the scene's implications become clear. Real tears stream down my face now, not from grief but from the relief of truth finally exposed. I take Mateo's arm, continuing my journey to the altar with my head high. Troy returns to his place, reaching for my hands and squeezing them reassuringly. He leans toward the microphone. We apologize for the disruption. The ceremony will continue as planned. The officiant clears his throat in the heavy silence. As we exchange vows, my voice grows stronger with each promise. When Troy kisses me, the room erupts in thunderous applause not just for our union, but in solidarity against what they've witnessed. Hand in hand, we walk back down the aisle as husband and wife. I notice the conspicuous emptiness where my family should be standing. Troy leans close, his lips brushing my ear. It's our day now, just like we planned. And for the first time since this ordeal began, I smile without reservation, stepping into the sunlight of my new life. The reception hall glowed with amber light, strings of delicate bulbs crisscrossing overhead like stars brought down to earth. Serafina's hand trembled slightly in Troy's as they entered to applause. The moment should have been pure celebration, but the weight of what had transpired hung in the air, an unspoken conversation rippling through the room. A woman Serafina recognized as Troy's mother's friend approached first, squeezing her hand. I had no idea what your family was like, she whispered, her eyes soft with concern. You handled that with such grace. Others followed, offering similar sentiments as they moved through the reception line, each comment lodged in Serafina's chest validation after years of silence. From across the room, Caleb intercepted an elderly couple clearly burning with curiosity. His voice carried just enough for Serafina to catch. Just a family disagreement about appropriate wedding attire, nothing that should overshadow the celebration. June stationed herself nearby, deflecting whenever conversation veered toward the ceremony's disruption. Today is about Serafina and Troy, not family drama. Her words formed a protective barrier, allowing Serafina moments to breathe. Troy never left her side. When a cluster of guests approached, his arm slipped around her waist, a physical shield against intrusive questions. His thumb traced small circles against the small of her back, a silent reminder that she wasn't alone. Uncle Mateo moved easily among Troy's relatives, his genuine warmth bridging what could have been an awkward divide. Within an hour, he and Troy's father were exchanging fishing stories as if they'd known each other for years. When time came for toasts, Mateo stood, crystal glass catching the light. To finding the family you need, he said, eyes finding Serafina's across the room, whether by blood or by choice. The words washed over her like absolution. Throughout dinner, June kept Serafina's phone in her clutch. Occasionally she'd glance at the screen, her expression carefully neutral. Your mother has called 17 times, she reported during a quiet moment. Your sister 12. Troy leaned close, his voice low. Do you want to know what they're saying? Serafina looked around at the tables filled with people who had witnessed her family's true nature and still chosen to stay and celebrate. Not today, she decided. Today is ours. The band began playing their first dance song. Troy led her to the center of the floor, one hand steady at her waist. You okay? He murmured as they began to move. Getting there, she answered honestly. As the song ended, the bandleader announced the father-daughter dance. A collective intake of breath rippled through the room, guests who knew what had happened, bracing for another uncomfortable moment. Before hesitation could take root, Matteo appeared at her elbow. May I? He asked, extending his hand. They moved slowly to the music, Matteo leading with surprising grace for a man who claimed to have 2 left feet. Did I ever tell you about the science fair when you were 9? He asked, voice pitched for her ears alone. Your volcano erupted all over the judge's table. A surprised laugh escaped her. I was mortified. Jacob missed it working late again, but I saw how bright you were, even when no one else noticed. Matteo's voice caught. I should have said something sooner about how they treated you. You're here now, Serafina said, realizing it was enough. The reception flowed into a blur of genuine laughter and unexpected joy. Troy's mother pulled Serafina into a fierce hug during a line dance, holding her like the daughter she'd never had. We're so glad you're part of our family now, she whispered. Later, Troy tugged Serafina away from the celebration, leading her to a small garden terrace outside the venue. The night air cooled her flushed skin. Are you okay? He asked, studying her face. Really okay? She considered the question, searching past the surface answer. It hurts, she admitted finally, but I feel free. When they returned, the celebration continued undiminished. They cut the cake, fed each other bites, and danced until Serafina's feet ached in her wedding shoes. No family drama could touch the genuine happiness she felt in these moments. As the night wound down, guests departed with warm wishes. June and Caleb insisted on handling final details while the newlyweds slipped away. In the car, Serafina finally retrieved her phone from June's care. The screen lit up with notifications, dozens of missed calls and texts that grew increasingly frantic. Marin, you've ruined everything. How could you humiliate me like this? Evelyn, this is unforgivable. You've broken your father's heart. Unknown cousins and relatives she barely spoke to had left voicemails demanding explanations. She put the phone away, too exhausted to engage. We don't have to deal with that tonight, Troy said, eyes on the road. Their honeymoon suite took her breath away. Roses and candles arranged by Caleb and June covered every surface, transforming the hotel room into something magical. The door had barely closed when Serafina's carefully maintained composure crumbled. She sank onto the bed in her wedding dress, sobs racking her body. Years of swallowed pain poured out in waves. Troy didn't try to stop her tears. He simply sat on the floor beside the bed in his expensive suit, one hand holding hers, anchoring her through the storm. You're safe, he said simply. You did the right thing. This is our day now. Through blurred vision, she looked at this man who had stood by her without question. The realization settled into her bones. She had chosen correctly. The old war was over. Her new life had begun. That night, more calls and texts flooded in, accusations and guilt wrapped in family obligation. Serafina watched them appear on her screen, feeling strangely disconnected from their power. I think I need to respond once, then be done with it, she said. Troy nodded. Whatever you decide, I'm with you. She drafted a single message to the family group chat, fingers steady on the screen. We need space. Your actions at our wedding were unacceptable. When you are ready to accept responsibility and offer a sincere apology for deliberately trying to ruin our day, we can talk. Until then, do not contact us. Troy read it over her shoulder, nodded his approval. She hit send, then powered off her phone completely. Let's start our honeymoon early, Troy suggested, loosening his tie. First flight out tomorrow. They packed quickly, the impromptu change of plans feeling like another small victory, another choice reclaimed. Later, standing at the window looking at the night sky, Serafina felt Troy's arms wrap around her from behind, his chin resting on her shoulder. I always thought standing up to them would feel like revenge, she confessed, but it doesn't. What does it feel like? He asked. Serafina took a deep breath, realizing it came easier now, like finally being able to breathe. 6 months after our wedding, I sat cross-legged on our living room sofa, laptop balanced on my knees. The late afternoon sun filters through gauzy curtains, illuminating photos from our European honeymoon displayed on the wall. Troy and I beneath the Eiffel Tower, us laughing on a gondola in Venice. Small, captured moments of joy that remind me how far I've come. My phone rings on the coffee table. I glance at it, noting with quiet satisfaction that I no longer flinch at unexpected calls. A year ago, each ring carried the possibility of my mother's manipulations or Marin's latest drama. Now it's just a phone. Troy enters from the kitchen with 2 steaming mugs of coffee, setting mine within reach. He kisses my forehead, our comfortable routine, before settling beside me. Working on the Henderson project? He asks, glancing at my screen. I nod, saving my document before closing the laptop. Just finished. The wedding wasn't the problem. It was merely the symptom of 28 years of carefully orchestrated abuse. My weekly therapy sessions have given me language for what happened. Scapegoating, triangulation, emotional neglect. Words that explain why I spent decades making myself smaller to accommodate Marin's expansiveness. No contact with my parents or sister has been maintained, though their attempts continued for months. Voice messages slowly evolved from Mom's tearful guilt trips to terse demands that I stop being ridiculous. Marin sent texts, laced with accusations. Dad's silence spoke volumes. The extended family divided predictably. Aunt Caroline called to express her disappointment in my cruelty toward family. Uncle Mateo and a handful of cousins understood my position. Most simply faded away, uncomfortable with taking sides. My laptop chimes with an incoming email notification. I flipped it open, surprised to see my father's name in my inbox, his first solo communication since the wedding. The message is brief, awkward. I hope you're doing well. Your mother still won't discuss what happened. I turn the screen toward Troy. From my dad. He reads it quickly. Do you want to respond? I consider this, testing my emotional reaction. Not yet. He's still not acknowledging anything. The doorbell rings. June arrives for dinner, her arms laden with a bottle of wine and a cloth-covered dish. After hugs and kitchen puttering, we settle at the dining table. So, June says, refilling her wineglass. Marin's engaged. The words land between us. 6 months ago, they would have triggered panic, wondering if history would repeat itself with another family member's attempt to overshadow me. Now I feel a surprising calm. That's her journey now, I say simply. Troy watches me carefully. Does it bother you? I consider this honestly. I wish her happiness. I just can't be part of it. The doorbell rings again. Troy answers while I clear our plates. I no longer startle at unexpected visitors, no longer assume every interruption brings disaster. Troy returns with a small package. Delivery for you. Inside the cardboard box lies a silver-framed photograph from Uncle Mateo. The image shows him walking me down the aisle, both of us smiling through tears. His note reads, "The day I gained a daughter. Family is what we make it." I place it prominently on the mantel, rearranging our other photos to make space. My phone rings, Dad's name on the screen. This time, I answer. Hello. Jacob's voice comes through hesitantly. Marin's planning her wedding. Your mother wants to know if you'll attend. I settle into my resolve, nothing wavering. Has anything changed, Dad? Has anyone acknowledged what happened at my wedding? His uncomfortable silence stretches, then, "It was just a misunderstanding, Serafina." Then my answer is no. I wish them well. I end the call without anger, just certainty. Troy takes my hand across the kitchen counter. I squeeze his fingers, processing the conversation. I don't feel guilty anymore, I realized aloud. That's new. Later that evening, our home fills with laughter and genuine warmth as we host June, Caleb, and Mateo for dinner, passing dishes around the table, telling stories, pouring wine. It feels like family. Catching my reflection in the window, I see a woman standing tall, no longer making herself small. Mateo raises his glass. To chosen family and hard-won peace. I lift mine in response. And to learning that true revenge isn't a single moment, it's building a happy, healthy, respected life whether your family is part of it or not. After everyone leaves, Troy and I slow dance in our living room. No music plays, just the rhythm of our shared journey. Sometimes I still miss the family I thought I had. I admit against his shoulder. That's because you have a good heart, Troy says, his arms steady around me. I look up at him, at this life we've built. But I wouldn't trade this life, this real life, for anything.